Andy's on. Hi, Andy. Okay, cool. So we'll go ahead and get started. And we just wanted to hop on and talk through a couple of things, recommendations we have for the match. I know it's a night match and there's some people who've never shot one before. It's our second year running the match, so we wanted to make sure that we set you guys up for success. So we'll go through a couple of things there, and then we want to answer your questions. So whatever questions you guys have about the match, if we can answer it, we will. All right, so first things first, with it being a night match, don't blind your squad mates, which means no white light allowed. So we will have colored lights available, not available, they will be on all night for each stage. So they'll have like purple or black light or green or orange or red colored lights. They're Christmas lights. That's what the word I was looking for was. I'm also going to throw some glow sticks in your guys's shooter packets. So you'll have a couple of those available to you. Keep in mind, it might be chilly. I'm not sure how well they're going to work, so I wouldn't heavily rely on them, but they'll be there. And then we recommend that people wear a red light headlamp so that you can see your equipment as you're manipulating it.
Yep. The reason we recommend red is because then it doesn't, blind the people around you when someone talks to you and you look right at them and they're like, ah! So yeah, you'll need some sort of light because, you're going to be back. You might be back at your range bag, filling out your dope card, or you might be, like you need to be able to see your gun. You need to be able to see the barricade maybe when you're moving. Like Ruth said, there will be some light, but it might not be enough to get you through a stage. So, you'll want to have like some type of head mounted light or like a hat brim light or something like that. Maybe one where you can kind of change the angle and you can get that dialed in so that when you're on the gun, it's lighting up your turret and your dope card and your bubble level. Yeah, like the glow stick idea, you can get pretty good with glow sticks and kind of like loop them around your scope so that you can see the bubble level or so that you can see your turret. I know Gray Ops has a product where you can insert a glow stick into this little mount that goes on your scope and you can kind of adjust the aperture to shine light on your turret. So just, we recommend at home before the match, just get your light situation dialed in so that you can be proficient with your gun, so you can dial your turrets, move your parallax knob if needed, and see your dope card, and so that you can, look down and see the barricade or whatever prop you're on, just so you can navigate.
Yeah, so we posted earlier in the event page for the monster match. For those who, I'm sorry, we're going live from our page, so I should have started with this. Well, it's in the title. All right, so hopefully people figured out why we're here. It's for the 2022 monster match, which is on October 29th. So at the end of the month here, it's a night match. If you haven't signed up yet, we have a couple spots left. May or may not be talked into opening another squad. I haven't decided yet, so we'll see. But for that, I've been recommending that people practice, in the dark at home with their equipment. We just posted the stages from last year's match, so people who weren't there will have kind of an idea of the stages we ran last year. You could take some of those stages and kind of go through a mock scenario in your basement, potentially, use different barricades or whatever the case may be in your imagination, and make sure that you know how to run your equipment, because that was probably the number one feedback we heard from people last year was newer people who weren't as intimate with their equipment. That was what they mentioned was it was really hard because they didn't expect it to be as hard as it was to run their equipment in the dark.
Yep. Yeah, it was pretty interesting because from some of the higher level shooters, we heard that it was borderline too easy, and that's probably because the wind basically died like after the second stage of the match. So it was a type of match where the experienced people had like very little trouble with it, but yet the new people it just felt like way too much. So it's kind of like the having low light or a night match just really adds another stressor to you, and if you're not super familiar with your equipment, it just can be a lot to deal with. So
what else should we tell people about? We got a giant pumpkin today.
Yeah.
Justin put on the trailer, so we're gonna shoot off of that. So there's one prop for you.
Yeah. We could talk about the stuff going on before the match.
Yep.
So yeah, we'll get into what happens before the match. So the match will begin at 7 o'clock because that's when the sun's completely down and it's dark. But before that, I think starting at 2 o'clock,
2
right?
p.m.
Yep, 2 p.m. to about 6 p.m. There will be kind of open range, open shooting. It'll be light out. So we'll have food available. There will be music playing. So it's a good time. And that's when you can sight your gun in. You can check your dope out to, 200 and some yards.
First, you're going to come inside and check in with me and get your shooter packet, and that will have your course of fire in it also. So you definitely want to do that.
Yes.
And then you go do the zeroing.
Yeah. So yeah, checking in first. Another good thing about that is we can then, go over the safety rules with you, because if there's going to be people doing open shooting and we haven't covered, the safety rules, that's not a good thing. So, yep, the safety rules, and then you'll be, versed on what's available for you to shoot at and what are some of the things that you can do with that time.
Hey, Todd. Todd's on.
So yeah, if you were there last year, it'll be basically the same thing. But yeah, so what it is zeroing on paper, long range dope, shooting at dirt berms, side stages. The money goes to the ROs. The AccuShot challenge, the one-shot challenge,
and then for the side stages, they're $10 a try, and then you get a certain number of raffle tickets based on your performance. So if you cleaned the stage, then you get 10 tickets, for example, and if you got half of them, you might get 5. So they're all written out in advance. But basically, if you shoot the stage, you have a chance of winning the prize because you'll get at least 1 ticket. So those will all go into a bucket, and we'll draw a winner out of that. Like Justin said, the proceeds go to support the ROs. And then the AccuShot challenge is free. So make sure you show up early if you want to participate in the AccuShot.
Yeah, last year, I think, a lot of people at the very end were in a line to try to get their AccuShot done, and there just wasn't enough time. So make sure you get there and just start getting things like that done and checked off the list. About the side stages, so Ruth said they're $10 a try. You can try as many times as you want. So if there's a prize that you really want, and you can kind of game it, and you look at like how many people have shot it, and if not a lot of people have shot it, you can just shoot it as many times as you want to try to maximize getting the prize.
Yeah, and we pick some pretty good prizes to make it worth your while to participate, so we can continue to support the ROs. So.
Yeah, another thing you can do with this time is, when you check in, you'll be given your match book, so you can literally walk through the stages and get a feel for where the targets are at. I highly recommend doing that with that time.
Yeah, well. you get to see all the props in the daylight then, and you get to also see the targets in the daylight, which will help give you maybe a frame of reference for when it does get dark out.
Yeah, so
no guns on props, but we will also mention that the day up. So no guns on props, but you can walk through all the stages.
Yeah, and then I think we'll go cold. I think it was at like 6 or 6:30. That's when we go down and turn on all the lights, as the sun is setting and it's starting to get dark. The shooters will get a break. They can go change out of their Halloween costume or do whatever they want with that time. And then everyone will meet at their stages at 7 o'clock, and there'll be a fireworks show again. Thanks to Mark Pulver.
Mark Pulver, the pulverizer. He's bringing us another fireworks kickoff. So it's going to be fun. We're pretty excited about that again. And then we'll do, a quick safety brief before everyone disseminates to their stages. We'll all do the fireworks show. And then as soon as the fireworks are done and everyone's back behind the firing line again, we'll call a hot range and we'll get started. So our goal is to get you guys through this. Link's eating cat toys again. And Justin's grabbing a light for us. Okay. So we'll do, we'll try to keep you guys moving so that we can be through and done. I mean, ideally we'd like to be done before 1 a.m., but at the latest 1 a.m. And then we'll have the banquet ceremony winners. We're going to have some of us who will have slept the night before, so we won't be as groggy trying to figure out why it wasn't processing the way we wanted it to. So we'll get everything ironed out this year to try and, move through the award ceremony as quickly as we can. John, no, the match is not sold out. We have a couple spots left. And Andrew from King Skull Metalworks sent us a preview video of one of the trophies, and they are so cool, you guys. They've got lights on them. I'm jealous. I want one.
Yeah, they look really good. It's kind of a landscape, kind of like the match logo. If you've seen the match logo, it's kind of like that.
So as soon as he sends us a video preview of them when they're totally done, I'll post it to the group page too, because they're super cool.
Yeah, so a little bit about the match. So it's basically a standard match. The only difference is the sun's not out, and each target has a light that's basically shining on the target. So it'll be, the light will be just kind of like right in front of the target. We try to set everything up so the light's also shining on the berm behind it. We use a lot of dirt berms just to help you guys out. If you miss, you get some sign of what's going on. So we try to light those things up as well. So,
Jared Lowe asked that question earlier. He asked if there was going to be enough light lit on the berms. If it's wet, you might not get as much feedback. But the intent we have with the design is to give you some feedback if you do miss, so you can get back on target. We're not wanting you guys to keep taking shots in the dark.
Yeah, so if you were to it looks really cool when we get the place lit up. Like at 7 o'clock, everyone's waiting. It just looks so cool out there because it's just black, and then all you see is lit up targets. Also, so when you're shooting the match, when you look through your scope, all you're gonna see is black except for a lit up target, right? So if you don't have an illuminated reticle, it's just so hard because you can't see your reticle until you put your gun on the target. So we highly, highly recommend that you have illuminated reticle. I don't even think I would shoot the match if I didn't have an illuminated reticle.
Right.
And on that note, we shoot the Nightforce ATAC Rs 7-35, and that illuminated reticle is pretty lacking. It's literally just the crosshair going down. There's no numbers, so it's really tough to use. So kind of consider that too. Hopefully you have something like a Vortex that lights up the whole tree, or there's a handful of them that are pretty good. So
also recommend that as practice. So when you're looking and you're getting familiar with your equipment, turn your illumination on. Make sure that you are familiar with where to find or what your game plan is for holdovers, because there will be some stages where you'll probably want to do some holdover.
Yep, and then if you have a send it level, those are really cool. They really shine at a night match. Hey, get that? You can adjust the intensity so it's not too bright. So yeah, all these little things, if you can get dialed in, it's gonna help you out a lot.
Right. And Jen wanted to know if we're gonna have t-shirts this year. Yes, we will. I had originally wanted to do glow in the dark again, but it made them incredibly expensive this year. So they're just gonna be boring printed with the match logo with multiple colors on the front. But they are gonna be long sleeve, which is exciting.
Ooh, that's different.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Susie says check the battery on your reticle. Yes, always good to make sure that you check your battery in advance and probably bring a spare. We'll have some spare batteries too for the more common models. So we don't want people to be without, but preferably bring your own because we're gonna have limited spares.
Yeah. So what else? So there's gonna be food. It'll be just like last year. There'll be hot cocoa, apple cider.
Mm-hmm. And coffee brought to you by Grind Ops. So
that's right.
We are excited to make that announcement as well. Grind Ops Coffee is going to provide us coffee that we're going to have served throughout the match and for the RO match, for the ROs. So, you guys will have all the caffeinated beverage you need to stay awake.
Yep. In addition, there will be chili and chicken wild rice soup. And then I believe Jason Jurish is doing the beef brisket again for the midnight snack. That was a big hit last year. So if you see Jason, thank him for that.
Yeah. So it was really good last year. We'll have some cornbread muffins to go with the chili, and we'll have chips, and we'll have, some snack food. And basically what we did last year was we just kept replenishing the soup. So we pre-make it. We have it available in the fridge, and then we just bring it out and start warming it as one is already out and hot. And that way you guys will have hot soup all night long. You can eat whenever you want. You don't need to eat if you're not hungry and you're not stuck at the stage. It'll be right inside the clubhouse. So for this, anyone who shot at this range before, but not this match is going to be on the track field, which is right outside of the clubhouse. So you'll be nice and close to the clubhouse. You can step inside and warm up. I do recommend bringing hand warmers. The electronic hand warmers are great. I love mine. If you never shoot another match that's ever cold, then, you know, maybe it's not worth the investment, but I absolutely love mine. So highly recommend, you know, dressing warm. There will be a costume contest for those who weren't here last year. You do walk the prize table with the other class winners. So it'll be first place open, first place young gun, first place lady, first place RO, and then first place costume. And if you are in a group costume and you enter the contest together, you will walk the table together. You each take your own prize. You have to share the trophy. So we didn't buy trophies enough for groups, but you do get to walk the prize table together. And the same for second and third place, you'll go along. So the goal with that is to get people really into the costume contest. So you will be heavily rewarded for dressing up in a really, you know, kick butt costume. In addition to that, there was something else I wanted to mention about the the costume contest. Yes. So last year we had a really hard time deciding on, we had a really obvious, you know, first place winner. I think everyone at the match agreed. It was hard for us to determine a second and third place winner, and we didn't enjoy the pressure of it. So what we're going to do this year is Justin and I we're going to take pictures in advance. So dress in your costume, do your check-in. We'll take a photo of you for the costume contest, and that's how we're going to judge the costumes later. So between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m., you'll have to have a photo taken in front of the MPS sign in your costume with your group or solo, whatever you choose. And then we're going to actually take and choose the top 10, and the top 10 people are going to go in a post on the NRL 22 members page. And then we're going to have the NRL 22 members vote on their favorite costume by liking the photos. So whoever has the most likes will take first place, second most, second place, third most, third place. And hopefully there's just not a tie. So that's how we're going to determine the winners for the costume contest this year.
Yeah, so wear your costume, like Ruth said, when you come and check in. That's between 2 and 6, I think it is. So yeah, you don't have to wear your costume when you're shooting the match. So yeah, you can change out of your costume at any point. But yeah, so about the weather. So hopefully it's warm, but if it's not, so just dress warm, dress in layers. We're actually considering moving the match up for next year. So
I think we pretty much decided we're going to move the match up to the first Saturday in October for next year. So
yeah, the average temps are about 10 degrees warmer, you know, by moving it up 3 or 4 weeks. So
for the low
yeah.
temp on average is 10 degrees warmer. So
which, you know, when we're shooting at night, it does get pretty close to the low. So that's something to consider. There'll be music playing through the whole match. So just keep that in mind. If you don't like music, maybe bring some earplugs. No, it'll be good stuff, good tunes, similar to last year. We're taking requests too. If you want anything added to the playlist, let us know.
There you go. Exactly. All right. So I think that's pretty well covers most of what we've got. We'll have for sight in and dope gathering. We'll have 50-yard and 100-yard paper, and then we'll have dirt berms that you can shoot at. You won't be able to shoot at steel for further distances, but we'll have dirt out there that you can shoot at. So that should give you, you know, a decent idea where you're at for the longer distances.
Yep. Just like last year, the longest distance will be somewhere around 220. So nothing crazy there.
Yep.
Keeping it nice and short and sweet.
Yep. All of the stages, like we posted in the group, will be 105 seconds. So that's a minute 45 seconds for those of you who aren't good at math, like me. Yep. So good question, Amy. I answered it right when you asked it. So 1 minute 45 seconds. The goal is to get us through 11 stages and again finish before 1 a.m. So
yep, it'll be about the same amount of, you know, shooter time to shoot 11 stages in 1 minute 45 as 10 stages in 2 minutes.
Yeah. So we will keep that in mind when we design the stages. So, you know, start practicing. I haven't shot any 105-second stages, so maybe start. This is Nova. Everyone say hi to Nova.
She's brand new this year for us.
She is new. She just stray kitten wandered her way right into our lives. So if you guys haven't shot 105-second stages, it's probably good to try that out and just get kind of used to it. So, yeah. What other questions do you guys have? Stop touching the mouse. Any and everything will answer almost anything. We're not going to answer everything. Actually, we probably could at this point because we haven't solidified all the stages yet. So you can ask us and we'll just tell you we're not 100% yet.
Yeah, I think we must have covered it so well. There's no more questions.
Must be. All right. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. Any other questions you guys do have, feel free to ping us. If you comment on the event page, that's better because then everyone can see your answer and we don't have to answer the same questions a bunch of times. So yeah, if no one else has any other questions, we'll go ahead and end her here. Thanks, everyone.
Yeah, see everybody there.